Hello, everyone. This is Game or Sleep, episode 6. I am Aaron, your host this week, along with my good friends Larry. And, of course, we got Harry. And I guess that's how we're starting things. So, how's it going, guys? How's your week been? What have you been up to?
Been very fun. Got back into streaming and I went really hard in it this weekend.
All right, what you been
I
playing?
backed out of the streaming myself, but I just finally got back in. There's a little bit of a gaming binge. But go ahead, Harry. Tell us what you're streaming.
I've been streaming a lot of stuff. Fortnite. The main thing has been Alice Madness Returns, along with some PUBG and Rocket League. It's a whole bunch of games that I like. Just playing them to play them.
Sounds awesome. How about you, Larry?
I've been getting into revisiting Frostpunk, and I got to check out Nobody Saves the World. So those games are way off the beaten path for me by comparison to like playing Elden Ring a ton and Pokemon Legends Arceus, stuff like that. So it was real nice to change it up.
Yeah.
It was actually really nice too catching your stream too, Harry. I liked seeing Alice Madness Returns. It's a cool, definitely a cool. I don't know, for lack of a better term, like environment. I like that art style. Very Tim Burton.
For a PS3 game, it is very, very pretty.
I was gonna say that game is a bit of a throwback because they don't really make adventure platformers like that too often anymore, and if they do, they're like flops like Balan Wonderland. Mm-hmm. So
it is very limited by its voice acting, though. I will say that.
I mean, that was an era where voice acting was a little weaker. Things have gotten a lot better, of course, but
yeah, not everybody could get Troy Baker at that point.
No.
I'm just gonna tear down the game and my PC and completely do the voice acting myself. Even the little girl children and the women, I'll do Alice.
Oh God, that video, that clip that you took, creepy.
Yeah,
it was unsettling, I must say.
Just like the man on the moon is the engineer. I'm like, yeah, just keep that shit way over there.
Yeah,
he's the engineer though. He's got to figure it out.
It was a weird poem. I didn't catch all of it because I had that one.
There was
kid
another
behind me, but it was pretty funny.
What about you, Aaron? What do you got going on?
Well, I've played more Elden Ring because, of course, I did. I played more Tunic because that's the game I'm currently streaming. Streaming's been a little less frequent for me. Frequent.
That's a word
for me. And because I've just had a lot going on, I've been working a lot of overtime lately. I've been getting ready to move, so streaming's been a little bit more difficult to pin down a good time for when I don't need more sleep or need to get other stuff done before work. But Friday,
that just means we're gonna have to plan a party for your next stream. So
exactly.
So what you got going on Friday?
Friday, I played Vampire Survivor. Have either of you guys heard of it?
I have not.
No.
It is a $3 game on Steam that's gaining a lot of wind. I think it'd be up your guys' alley a bit. It is like an endless wave-based game where you play as a vampire hunter pretty much. And every level up, you get a random power-up and you get new abilities and you just have to survive for as long as you can.
Ooh.
And every level is only like level 1, a half-hour time limit. Your goal is to live a half an hour and get to the highest level as you can.
Is each level
in that time frame
with that kind of time limit, or
I got to level 97 in 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then the Grim Reaper shows up and you die, and it says stage over.
Gotcha.
But there's like 5 levels. There's like 5 characters with different starting abilities, and there's like 30 different items, and they have different abilities. So you just try to level up as quick as possible, live as long as possible. And it can be pretty hard. Like, that was the best run I've ever had, is actually surviving the 30 minutes. Normally I die in like 10 minutes. Because it's a very brutal game. But
is it like Hell Shooter style, where you're like, your twin sticks? Or
it is not. It is a game that can be played with the arrow keys alone on a keyboard.
Huh.
and
Interesting.
you just walk around and your attacks are based on time. There's abilities that are like, oh, reduces cooldowns by 0.8 seconds, reduces this, so things happen faster, things happen quicker. You can increase the area of your attack
Okay.
and stuff.
If you had to compare it to anything else that's out right now, what would you say?
See, it's not like much today, but it is kind of like a bullet hell mixed with a roguelike,
Okay.
honestly.
Okay.
But it's like, think of like Hades, but much more focused and less of a story. Just go, because it's the map's always the same. The maps never end. There's no borders to the map, and you just survive. And constantly, all the enemies are coming in circular towards you. So
I see. Okay. Okay.
you have
Yeah,
to
I'll
plan it
definitely have
out.
to. I'll have
But
to
for
check
like
that
$3,
out. Because,
it's a good way to be like, want to
right.
kill a few hours, spend $3. You'll have fun for 5 to 10 hours max. But
What's the art style like?
Super Nintendo Castlevania, like
Ooh.
like you should look it up real quick and take a look at it. Just Vampire Survivors, and it came out this year, and I think it's on Mac, I think it's on Linux, I think it's on PC, it's everywhere.
Oh, that's
And the
cool.
requirements are nothing because it's just a pixel game.
That is awesome. That looks so cool.
But it's so much fun. I'll have to stream it again when you're able to drop in so you can see it in action. But a lot of people are like, this looks hectic, this looks fun. Like,
I'm definitely
so
one
I
for
did
chaos
that.
on the screen.
And I did that on a whim because I started streaming Friday and my Xbox controller battery was dead, and I was already live. And I'm like, I'm not gonna stop my stream to go find double A's to put in the controller to start playing Tunic. I'm just gonna boot up another game, whatever.
Yeah. That's
So I
sometimes
just
the
threw that up.
fun part of it is being able to just like pick something on the fly.
Right. And I've been hearing about Vampire Survivors from the Fire Escape cast. That's Dan Reichert and crew. And he said he was gonna play it on a plane flight on his Steam Deck because everyone said that's a perfect game for the airplane. Like, just go
Oh,
to
absolutely.
kill
You
a
just pick it
3-hour
up.
flight.
Oh yeah, you just pick it up and put it down. No big deal.
Right.
That's the kind of game I like for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it'd be way up your alley for sure. And like I said, I think it's on Mac, Linux, everything. So computer wise, it's not on any console. But
Uh-huh.
$2.99, $3.99 game, like whatever.
It's on rock, stick, everything.
Oh man, Harry. Aside from like some of the games that you were streaming, anything sticking out to you that you're getting ready to try out or anything like that?
I'm just holding out for Hogwarts Legacy.
Mm.
Is that when is that?
September or October.
We're coming up on it then.
Let me jump on and.
I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot riding on Legacy doing well.
Yeah,
For the
I
trajectory
think so
of the
too.
series, for the trajectory of the series in gaming, for instance. I don't think there's going to be any danger of maybe the franchise itself having any loss of fans, but in the gaming realm, Legacy is going to have quite an impact one way or another.
Yeah, and
it just says holiday 2022.
Okay, so probably November, October. They're
November,
setting up for a
December,
big
October,
Christmas
November,
release under
Yeah.
Christmas tree kind of game. So I'm gonna guess first week of November, second week of November,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to get out at least a week ahead of Black Friday for a marketing blitz. So that's the same with Pokemon. Pokemon's gonna come out the first or second week of November, like, so they can have it out ready for Christmas.
But I am ready for it. My bones yearn for Hogwarts Legacy.
I'm really intrigued by it. I'm gonna hold off on the pre-order because I can't do it again with a game that I'm this excited about. So Elden Ring was my last pre-order, and it didn't bite me in the butt. But before that, it was Cyberpunk, and we all know where that went.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's exactly why I don't pre-order anymore, because of game getting burned.
Now, if there's a steel book, I may be convinced otherwise, because I'm a
different.
sucker for the steel books.
I can't do hard copies right now because of children.
They be destructive like that. How about you, though, Larry? Anything you're looking forward to? Anything coming out? Anything you're just waiting on for your next big game?
I mean, off the top of my head, I've got nothing in my sights going forward, at least in the near term. You know, life's been pretty darn busy. So to be able to get right back into streaming, maybe in the next week or so, will be exciting. And really, just sometimes you need that comfort food of a game, and Frostpunk has kind of been that for me in the last 2 days, where I've been able to just sit down and. For anybody who's not familiar with it, Frostpunk is like a steampunk version of like a city builder. So for anyone who's a fan of a city builder but wants some like higher stakes, it's survival and resource management. Think like if you ever seen the movie Snowpiercer, where they're living on a
Mm-hmm.
train and they're it's freezing cold and whatnot, and that's what they have to just keep moving in order to survive. That's what you've got in Frostpunk, except you're building a city based around keeping the heat on, keeping people fed, and hoping that they don't get frostbite, while exploring and sending scouts out to find more and more survivors or you know resources, things like that. And it's just I throw it on endless mode and I just go. And sometimes I'll stop the game, I'll come back to it, and instead of picking up the same city, I'll just start over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I played that maybe about a year ago and put it down, and then it just became again the flavor of the week for me.
Oh yeah.
Understandable.
I laid down 3 tents and sat there for a minute, and then I went and got lunch and forgot about the game.
I'm sure that didn't end well.
You abandoned your people.
I abandoned them.
God, the map selection is crazy. So you can choose different starting points, and some of them are easier than others. So there's things like you can start off in this valley where it's very long but narrow. You can start off in like a crater, which has got a lot of area space for you to build out, which is a little more, I guess, conducive to an easier game. And then there's like crags where you're in an open area, but there's all these rock formations that would interrupt the normal flow of a city, something like that. So there's a lot to go around for everybody in terms of a degree of challenge. And I'm a wimpy baby boy, so I play it on the easiest mode just to enjoy. It's a little tougher than playing something like the like SimCity or something like that, or Cities, whatever the rest of the name of the title is, where that's kind of just easy, easy listening, just playing
Right,
jazz.
right. It's
And
kind of
I
more of akin to like a Civ, but dark and inwardly focused on your city more than outwardly focused, right?
Right, absolutely, and choices that you make in signing laws and things like that can, without getting too granular, really affects, I guess, that pressure you feel. Because your people are constantly becoming discontented, or
Yeah.
becoming hopeful or losing hope, and you have to try to balance that. And it's all a resource game, resource management, just paying attention to the weather day over day changes. So you you see in the next 2 days there's going to be a gigantic storm, and it's going to drop your temperature to negative 100. But you've got scouts that are out, and they're going to get washed away by this storm if you don't get them back to the city. It's really cool stuff that you have to pay attention to. But at the same time, you can also pause time and just kind of regroup. It's not constantly coming at you.
I gotta check that out at some point. I have it. I've owned it forever. Epic gave it away for free, I think, a year or two ago, and I was like, all right, I'll add it to my library, but I never downloaded it. But you might be talking me into it. I need some more games to play. I'm about to beat Tunic, I think. So
Oh yeah, you've been going heavy into that. So what from when you started playing to now, what are your feelings? How they developed for that?
For
there
Tunic,
is, yeah, on Tunic, there is so much more to that game than meets the eye.
I haven't really
Like,
played it since the last stream. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like I've been like the week after that, I was playing some Fortnite, trying to level up on that, and then uh, I got sick last week. Me and the whole family got sick, so we kind of just laid on the couch the whole week.
Kept your head down, yeah. That's a
Mm-hmm.
shame. I hear you though. It definitely didn't hit the note for me just yet. Like it
yeah, and
probably will.
I think you need to push through to break through the wall because that game does come off as a very simple. This is just like a little Zelda game. All right, whatever. It's a lot more than that. There's a lot more going on, and like I struggled with how to do something for like 15 minutes. Like I don't know where to go. There's no path for me to go. I have no idea what's going on. opened up that dank instruction manual again and said there was something that looked familiar to me and said press A for 3 seconds in front of it. I'm like, what the heck? So then I went over to it, pressed A for 3 seconds, and my character did a prayer and activated the stone pillar to lower. And I'm like, wait, could I have prayed this entire time that all of these stone pillars I've seen throughout the game so far?
I think I know what you're talking about too. It's those pillars that have like the little rainbow stone at the top of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. And
Ah,
they don't tell you that directly. They don't walk you through it.
no.
You have to figure that out. And
Yeah.
then I figured out, all right, so where else could I pray to do something? And you know all those gold platforms around the map that I've been? Those are
Yep.
fast travel. You pray on those and you go to a hub and you can travel between them. And the game
Well,
doesn't tell you that.
I think I figured you're talking about those little save spots that fill up your health,
No,
right?
they're like gold squares. Like there's 4 sets of stairs, one on each side, and it's a gold platform.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
pray on that and you fast travel. They don't
Hmm.
explain that. I just tried it out myself, being like, where else can I pray to do something? This place seems weird, like it should be something. Will this do anything? Yup.
That's real cool. That's real cool that
And
there's like secrets like that.
and they've done a lot of stuff like that. Or you go through this whole dungeon, go through this boss, finish it, come out, and you're back at the starting area. Like, wait a minute, could I have went down this path from this area to begin with? And it's like, yeah, you could have went through that entire dungeon backwards. It doesn't matter. And I think that's what makes it really unique. Like, all right, so there's ways to do this. I
All
mean,
right,
I just
freedom
found
of
out how to
gameplay.
level up on my previous stream. Like, you can level up. There's stats.
What?
Yeah,
I
there's
haven't
like
gotten
four
there
there's
yet.
like four items you get, like a tooth, a flower, and another kind of flower and something else, and you can burn those at the save places as like
It's
a
like an
prayer
offering.
or like an offering to the higher powers, and it increases one of your stats, your HP, MP, attack, defense.
Okay.
And they don't explain any of that. So I was struggling on this boss trying to play it, and I guess I was trying to beat the third boss at level 1. It's like, no wonder it was hard.
Right. And this game is punishing. Like
Yeah,
going
and they
through it.
don't, but they don't tell you how to level up.
Right.
You
Like
just have to
I
figure
was
it
getting
out.
I
I
got
love
so
games like
mad.
that though.
Yeah. I got so mad and I say it lightly. I didn't really like rage or anything, but it got to the point where I was like, you know what? If I want to get through this game, let me just hit that handy dandy like take no damage thing so that I could just explore and just enjoy it.
See, I've never turned that on ever.
It's listen,
I
take it as
forced myself through it.
it's a badge of honor for you where like I am absolutely like, no, you know what? If I don't have enough time to play, let me just see what I can enjoy out of this and explore.
Yeah, and I've been listening to like I said, the Fire Escape cast and Giant Bomb cast, and they've been talking about this game nonstop. Even Jeff Gersman, and all of their opinions have swapped on it. Like, there's a lot more to this game than meets the eye. We're not gonna do spoilers here, and everyone's just like, yeah. So you wouldn't say this is a game that's fair for kids' first RPG now, right? And they're like, no, kids would miss things, kids would understand, and there's things later in the game that would just they wouldn't
Oh
they
god,
wouldn't
yeah.
get through.
And it would be so difficult too. I mean, it's one of those games like it would make me think back to playing the NES and playing stuff like oh gosh. Anyway, it would just remind me of playing games that were so difficult that you would either turn the NES off and start from the beginning again, or you just would play the same level again as a kid and
I
the
think
Right.
same
that's what's
area.
I think that's what's fun for us though, is because we're used to not having our handheld through games because we did that growing up. So it makes it fun for us. It takes us back. It's like got like a nostalgic feeling to it when we play games like that.
It definitely does, and it's cool because like I said, on one of those podcasts they were talking about it, and someone just brought up the fact like, did you know this game has character customization? And everyone was like, what? And like, yeah, there's a place you can find within the first 2 hours of the game to change your color of your tunic, your fur, your nose.
What?
And I'm like, what? Where is that? And someone's like, I played this for 16 hours. What are you talking about? Where is this?
On the scale of things too, I mean, Tunic is a very chill game. Like between you guys, like what do you find speaks to you more? Having something more chill and relaxed, or do you like something that's a little more in your face and intense?
It really depends. Like
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I go either or. I play like high like pace games like Call of Duty and Fortnite and stuff like that where it can get really fast, but I'll turn around and play a story game on stream because it's chill.
Yep.
It's how it's like a duality of it.
Right. And I've hit the point where, for the most part, I like my games to be a little bit of a challenge. I like my stories typically. And I'm tired of handholding to the point. Like, I really
Oh
want to
yeah,
get into the Horizon Zero Dawn games. I do. I've heard nothing but rave reviews. But there's like 6 hours of tutorial. And I can figure this out myself. I don't need you to scream, hey, these vines you can climb up every single time I see those vines in the first 10 hours of the game.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of that. Like, and that's why I thought Elden Ring was so appealing, because their tutorial's very hands off. Tunics is very hands off. And a
yeah.
lot of people have criticized the new Horizon game for like the first 12 hours being a tutorial.
Yeah.
Well,
And
okay.
that's a lot of time to commit to just learning how to play a game that you could really probably not take that long to do.
What has that game not been criticized on? Like it's not. I don't think it's the bad. It's going to be a bad game.
No, I
I.
think the game's good, the story's good, it's a beautifully made game,
It's just like
but
once people find one thing to criticize, then the ants start coming in, man. Like that's the way I see it. Like they poke a hole in the bag of the bread, and then all the bread's ruined because
right.
all the ants come in.
Right. And I see what you're saying there, but to me it's just like, and it's a fair point, Ubisoft is very guilty of this in their open world games lately, of just information overload. Like, your map has 82 markers with 32 different symbols, and they're color coded to mean different things, and
I
it's
played
just,
Fallout. I'll be fine.
it's like, I don't need that much information, or it's overwhelming to the point of I don't want to do all this because there's so much on my plate. Like,
Yeah, I
I don't
guess that
know.
that comes into play too with like everything we've just talked about, from games not being handholdy to games that are chill, that are intense, that throw everything at you, and then also things that games that become overcomplicated with systems, things like that. Like where does art in gaming end up falling, right?
Oh yeah.
So could you consider all of that to be art? Do you draw a fine line in terms of effort that's put into a game that you're basically spinning something from nothing? Would you consider all games art?
Oh yeah. Most definitely. I
Yeah.
think. I think no matter what the effort. I mean, there's people that like take a pencil and draw a line on a canvas, and that's art.
Yeah.
So why can't a $3 budget video game be considered art?
Exactly. Like, Vampire Survivors, $2 game. There's a lot of art in that game. The music, the enemy design, the character design, everything is art. And as a whole, now, do I think some of this art lately has been diminished by the corporate aspect of it? Like, these are tools to make money. Like, literally, they're made to make money. That's their goal.
Yeah.
And that diminishes it somewhat. But
Well, I mean,
Elden
all
Ring is a
arts.
game that all art's subjective, but I want to say all art is there to create money. There are plenty of people who just create art as a passion and they don't sell their art.
Right.
Someone's passion project though turns into money eventually.
Uh, I would debate you there.
If
It's
it's
like it's
successful enough.
it's like a Van Gogh, but Van Gogh didn't see it, but like they're trying to capitalize on it now.
Yeah, eventually it might turn into someone's money, but I'm saying there are plenty of people who create art whose goal is not to sell their art.
Okay, but is it the companies themselves making the game, or is it the people that are doing the art for them?
See, that's a fair point. It's not Ubisoft making Assassin's Creed. It's their team of 800 people and designers making the
Like
game.
I know a
Right.
couple. I know I'm on talking basis with a couple of game developers, and they don't sit there and talk about money the whole time. They're like, "Oh man, this is awesome. This is beautiful. I like this aspect." They have the passion for it.
Right.
It's
Right.
that's what I think is art about it. It's not like, okay, we got to make this because it's a job. No, it's
It's
the passion.
No,
yeah.
I see what you're saying there, but I am more likely to say something like Elden Ring is art than the 30-second Call of Duty game. Like,
Oh yeah,
I would say, I would begrudgingly say yes, there is still art in the Call of Duty series. Of course there is. There's voice acting, there's writing, there's character
oh yeah.
design, there's so much effort put there. But those games are also like plug and play, drop the pieces, drop the set pieces. Let's make another game. Let's sell another million
Oh yeah.
copies.
Well, that's the thing. Like where I was coming in, like I see you there, but it's just that's the company's pushing peddling the art. It's like going to a canvas painter and be like, "Hey, man, you signed a contract. You got to get at least 5 paintings out every month." You know,
It's still art,
it's still
right?
art, but it's not gonna have like the substance to it. You know, it's not gonna have the
Yeah,
potatoes.
yeah. I love how broad this can be too, because the three of us can go into a room where a portrait is hanging, and we can have wildly different takes and opinions on the portrait that's hanging in that room. And one of us can absolutely dislike it. The other
Mm-hmm.
two can really love it and appreciate, its form. And
Super
the same can,
subjective.
yeah, and the same can be said for, one of the things I think that really couple well with it is like good audio.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to gravitate towards like really good music in in movies and games, things like that. And usually if you've got one or the other, like great visuals, or great audio, or at least middling of the two, you can tend to blend whatever it is that you're making into a really great experience. And the way I see it is, it every single one of us has a different taste, a different flavor is going to reach out and speak to you. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's amazing about games.
Yeah,
It's not your
that's
typical, brushed paper.
that's one thing that was always like because right now I'm playing Alice, and that's like a really pretty game for its time. But like everyone always is like, oh, if it's gritty, it's not art. Like, you ever played Gears of War? That game is beautiful for how brutal it is.
That would have
Mm-hmm.
made my honorable mention on our last cast talking about our favorite games, and because it was no pun intended, game changing.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing games where they previously were to Gears of War was like eye popping.
Yeah,
It's
and
awesome.
then like the story, like
Mm-hmm.
people actually like cried on that story because of stuff. You know, that's an all around like that's a beautiful project.
I cry all the time, so
You get back in there, little tear.
Exactly though, and I've had like people older than me be like, video games aren't art; they're just video games. And
Mm-hmm.
I just had to look at them because you're like, so you're telling me like these 23 composers that worked on this soundtrack alone for this game weren't making art when they made that music? Like
Yeah.
what they wrote wasn't art? These writers who wrote 2,000 pages of dialogue, that's not being a writer. Like,
yeah,
so I don't see how that debate holds up anymore.
You can't blame the artist for the wants of the businessman.
No, you can't.
for sure, for sure. And it almost comes down to like not enough representation of the artists themselves, because you think about it this way: like an actor has an agent or an agency, you know, an artist, like a musical artist, has management, something like that. There's sometimes you don't get that connection with the artists themselves, or the artist doesn't want that connection, for instance, too, in some cases. And there's a degree of separation. So it becomes, what we see now, which is, 2K, Activision, these big companies that their decisions, end up putting an impression on us as the consumers, as the gamers,
Yep.
to whether or not we like the title. you know, uh, 50,000 iterations of the same type of game, now we start to have a sour taste in our mouth. The art remains the same. It's just a matter of whether or not we become jaded as consumers of that art, of that entertainment. Whether it's plug and play because it's a safe bet to take, block A and duplicate it 10 times, or to
Mm-hmm.
create, a circle out of it and do something different. It's such a tricky tightrope to walk, because it becomes robotic instead of, like you
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, a passion project.
Right, right, and that's why, like, begrudgingly, but I have to admit, like, even games like this is the 30-second Madden game. It's still art, whether I appreciate that genre or not. It's art.
Right. Right.
So,
It is. It is. It's like art in motion at that point too. It's really about it can be art visually, it can be art audibly, and then it can also be art in its execution. In what the game is actually doing, because there's things behind the scenes. Like, could you consider coding to be art? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's an interesting concept, but I think, I guess you could. I
Yeah,
really
coding.
think you could.
I think coding, if you're passionate, like again, it comes down to passion. I think it comes down to passion. I think
Art is passion when it comes
at
down
its
to it.
base, at its base, art is passion, and I think if you're passionate about something, it could be art to an extent. I'm not going to sit there and say everything you're passionate about because some people are passionate about some pretty bad things.
There's some weird stuff to be passionate about, that's for sure.
But even if you're not passionate about it or you disagree with it, is it still art?
I've seen your OnlyFans, Harold.
Is that art?
First of all,
some people some people will say it's art, others will say it's trash.
Hey, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no.
But yeah, it comes down to it. Like, it's always going to be to a point where it's subjective, and there's always going to be people who gatekeep it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like a thing in video game that is like super heavy is gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping is a problem in a lot of communities, gaming being one of the main ones for sure.
Yeah. It gets toxic. Like coming out of the art thing and just going into gatekeeping in general, I'm that just gets old. I'm tired of going online and jumping into like a community only to see people there trying to bogard a certain game. It just gets really tiring.
Yeah, it makes me think of the of that meme that gets posted every now and then where you see that kind of toxicity happening online, and it's just like somebody complaining and then somebody holding their lips shut, like just let people enjoy things. Yeah.
Right. Right. And I've never understood gatekeeping. It's one of the most frustrating things. And you see it in gaming, you see it in anime, you see it in music, you see it everywhere nowadays.
Right. I think part of it is that personal connection that someone builds up becomes something that, the reality that your perception is skewed at that point to be like, this is special to me, and it can't be special to anybody else.
It becomes part of their personality. That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
And it can go in both ways, because I've seen people get gatekeeping in the sense of this, you didn't like this game, so I'm going to gatekeep you from liking others in the genre or the series because you didn't appreciate this quote unquote classic of the genre. Like, oh, you can't say you don't like JRPGs if you've never played a Final Fantasy. You're fake. Like,
no, I get you, and that really ties in nicely with the whole, like, the three of us can go into a room and look at a painting, and one of us hates it, and the other one's like getting mad at the other for, why? How could you not like this? Yeah, exactly, exactly. Hyperventilating over that, and it's one of those things, like, that kind of passion is awesome in a sense, where it's like, I really enjoy this and I want other people to enjoy it, but you've got the other side of the coin where people are like, I don't like this, and if you like it, you're trash.
Yeah. Or if you don't like it, you're trash.
Right.
Either way, you're trash. Right. Because I'll be one of the people that said I think Final Fantasy VII is overrated, and most of its love is nostalgia.
Right there with you, buddy.
No strong feelings either way, so I won't call you trash.
Yeah, no. Now I'll defend Final Fantasy X, but that's the one that I have nostalgia for, and I understand that.
I can honestly say 7. I did one playthrough and never went back. Not even the remaster. I don't care.
No, the remaster is fun as heck. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's a trip. I've enjoyed the remaster a lot.
It's a story I've already touched on. The only thing I go back and do is read, and that's like my favorites.
I hear you there, because a lot of times, like, for things that I really enjoyed in the past, gaming wise, I can look back on them and with rose-colored glasses, things like that. And then if I were to actually physically go back to them, I don't know that I could.
Yourself?
Yeah, I don't have a single game that I can necessarily run back to that's years old and faithfully play it all the way through. I might be able to, like, Mass Effect trilogy. Love Mass Effect. Absolutely loved my experience through it. Have the Mass Effect trilogy. Could barely get through the first game, and that's partially my ADD kicking in. Playing that game for a little while, and then a squirrel runs by the window, and I stop playing. But it is like that experience was new. This experience is now, okay, maybe I'll do something different than I did the last time. So it becomes a time sink. It becomes, was this as good as I remembered?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem though. Like I have no um game that I really would want to go back to. I think if I had to, like Crash Bandicoot, but that's different. That's a platform. It's not really story based and as much.
Yeah, but let me ask you this then. Based on the nostalgia there, like, if you were to go back to a Crash Bandicoot game, would you dig up your PlayStation 1, find your Crash Bandicoot game, find a way to get that working on your modern TV, or would you just go buy the new remastered trilogy?
I had the remastered trilogy, but I would also play the old ones.
No, but which would you
I
do
thought
if
I
you're
thought you
having
were
that
gonna like
itch?
pull it up from somewhere. Like I have it right here.
Give me a second. Give me a second.
Oh wait, there he is. There he is. Look at it. He's got it hanging out right. Oh, that's Harry Potter. He's got some Harry
Yeah.
Potter there. Look at that collector's edition.
That's why I am looking for a PS1 so I could do that on stream on the
Yeah.
actual console because I don't want to do an emulator.
Then don't do an emulator.
I'm not going to.
I'm gonna do it. All right, Dad.
Gonna do it, man.
Okay, good. No, but see, I'd be the kind of person, like, if I want to go back and play Kingdom Hearts, I'm going to play the new release on PlayStation 4. If I want to go back to Final Fantasy X, I'm probably going to play the HD remaster. I'm not going to dig out the old console and play that original copy again.
I think that is what detaches a lot of people from this nostalgia, though, because you can go back and play it on a different console. It doesn't feel the same. I don't think.
Well, yeah, that's because, like, old controllers were bad. Let's be frank. Like, PlayStation 2 controller was bad.
Who wants thumbsticks? You just get the old school PS1 controllers without the thumbsticks. I mean, come on.
Right?
I mean, I gotta disagree a little bit there. The PlayStation 2 controller for its time was fantastic.
But you had to throw in that qualifier for its time. Going back from the newest Xbox controller or the DualSense to a PlayStation controller, you're like, oh my gosh.
I want the
Like
Duke.
I get that, but you can't say that when it didn't exist yet. Like that was the pinnacle of controllers in terms of standard handheld controllers at its time. You know,
I mean,
you got
it's
what
still...
Nintendo 64. What kind of controller is that?
I don't know. Nintendo still has the best D-pads in the game because they patent that.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like you get to the GameCube controller, I love that thing.
I want to get the I want to get the 20th anniversary Duke controller.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. But
Absolutely.
no, but going back to those controllers, you have to admit, is also a form of nostalgia. Because from a modern standpoint, those controllers are no longer good. They just
what holds up? You know what holds up? The NES controller.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. Those that tiny little controller, my hand falls asleep. Like,
it's not as bad as the Switch controller.
I mean, fair.
What? 7 buttons. 7 buttons in a dream, baby. That's all you need.
I don't know, but when I play Switch nowadays, I just pull out the Pro controller, so I don't hold that thing.
This is not an endorsement for Nintendo's Pro controller,
but it's a really good controller.
Mine's
I mean, you know what Nintendo puts everyone to shame with the controller wise? The Pro controller's battery life is like 80 hours.
Oh yeah. I haven't charged this thing since I got it.
Right. But meanwhile, a DualSense dies in 4 hours. I went through 2 AA's in my Xbox controller in less than 3 months.
Oh, my Elite does well.
I have charge packs for my Xbox controllers.
Have the charge packs gotten any better? Because last I heard, the charge packs like lose their charge in like 6 months. You have to buy new ones anyway.
No, they're like worthless.
I've been rocking these ones for over a year now. And for $20, you get 2 charge packs, and I bought a dock that I can put them on. So I mean, it kind of helps out a lot.
All right, fair enough. So we touched on the gatekeeping. Is there anything you wanted to hit on there? Has anything really triggered you lately with the gatekeeping?
It's not really triggering me. It's just with new games coming out, like in remasters coming out, I've noticed a lot of gatekeeping in the gaming community, and it's just getting old.
Yeah, I typically don't engage with that stuff myself. I mean, if I see somebody doing that, I just kind of walk away from it. I can remove myself from the situation, and if I am confronted with any type of gatekeeping or any kind of situation like that, it's I would say it's typically like in person. It's something a little more lighthearted of like, what, are you kidding me? Like, you don't like that? And then it becomes just a discourse. It just becomes, a conversation to be had.
Right.
Not something that I involve myself toxically, but seeing it unfortunately unfold like common places to see that is Twitter,
Well,
where you just see threads and threads of
One
hate or
one of my games right now is like receiving a lot of BS like that. It is Fortnite right now because we got people coming from Warzone because they had the no build. The no build is permanent now, so we got Warzone people coming over, and then they're trying to gatekeep people on Fortnite. Like, oh, you can't do crap without your build, and I'm like, okay, you got it. You got to prove yourself there.
The whole meme of people from Call of Duty come over is like, well, I know how to aim. Like,
It's like, so do we, guy. So do we.
yeah. No, I can definitely see where that can get super toxic. And
I mean,
that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Fortnite seems like its community can be pretty toxic in general, and that's an unfortunate truth.
Oh yeah.
But what were you gonna say?
I don't think it's Fortnite so much anymore. I think it's the people coming to Fortnite. Like, yeah, it can be toxic, but
for sure,
it's just bad seeing like Tim. I love Tim, but he's on there. He's like, oh yeah, Fortnite's amazing now. I'm like, it's always been amazing.
Right. I think you just have to get around some of the aspects of the game that make it different, and it kind of makes Call of Duty at that point one-dimensional by comparison to Fortnite, because you have different facets of that game that you can play. They're different games. You can't really compare them, even though they have similarities. They're two different entities. They're two different things.
They are, and it seems like Fortnite, at least, like, some of the crossovers leave a bad taste in my mouth, but I think they do a better job at doing their crossover than Call of Duty. Because Call of Duties are like, Attack on Titan. Do you want to buy a John McClane skin? Do you want to buy a Snoop Dogg skin? Like,
the Attack on Titan skins are horrible.
If you don't give me Titans in there, then I don't want it.
And when it comes down to it, like, Fortnite does Naruto, and I think Naruto holding an AK is hilarious.
I've actually, I don't play Fortnite, but I've been like really intrigued by the different crossovers they have. Like, how many times will you put Zendaya in there? They have one for Euphoria for her, which is fantastic. Three times. And then it's awesome.
But then they'll do a random, like, oh, we're partnering with Brandon Sanderson, a fantasy author, and doing some of his characters. Like,
yeah, dude.
All right, let's go.
Like,
that was cool.
Put me in there, coach.
I love Brandon Sanderson's work, but
you guys should join the Fortnite. We
literally just started playing Apex together. Now you want us to jump to Fortnite?
Listen, I'm ready for the next Apex jaunt, because you guys are teaching me Apex and I'm learning, and I feel like baby deer legs. I feel like I just got born. Right. But yeah, you're learning at a faster clip than me, so you're doing better than me in that sense. But I really enjoy our time playing that too, and I don't know, that's another gatekeeping situation. Like, we can say like, oh, we're playing some Apex, and somebody's like, oh, that game's trash, blah 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 blah.
You should play Fortnite. You should play Vanguard. You should play.
You should
Valorant
though.
Look at that. Harry is gatekeeping.
Except
you've become what you
I've become what I hate. Oh man.
Did you see, Aaron? Did you see the announcement for that new Kingdom Hearts 4? I mean, because we were talking about that before.
I have mixed feelings. I'm not sure what to feel. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Don't get me wrong. More Kingdom Hearts, more crack, whatever. I'm in. But they.
Oh, you got any more of that crack?
That's exactly how I feel when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, because they announced 3 games in that one trailer. So here we go, fam. It's a new Union Cross game, whatever. It's a mobile game. There's another mobile game that looks entirely different with higher end graphics. I need to pull up the news to know these names, because Kingdom Hearts names are a thing in themselves.
Are they all going to have the original song still in it?
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna clap back at that, because it's only been Simple and Clean for like 2 games, and there's been different versions of it, and there's different songs. Simple and Clean is a bop, and I won't stop.
Every time I hear Kingdom Hearts, that song starts playing in my head.
I mean, it's a great song, but they announced like 3 games with this. They announced Kingdom Hearts Missing Link is the new game that's coming to mobile next year.
Does it have Link in it?
I wish. But then there is another game that is a new Union Cross game, which was their mobile game before that. But it's like Dark Road, I think, and that's getting re-released. But then they announced Kingdom Hearts 4, which is the actual bread and butter. Fine.
Yeah, that's the big
But
tentpole one.
it's the big tentpole one, but and I haven't beat Kingdom Hearts 3, so hold this with a grain of salt, but I could have swore everyone was saying, the creators, the director, everyone, that Kingdom Hearts 3 is the end of Sora's story. But then
So
Kingdom
does
Hearts
that?
4's trailer opens with Sora.
So do you think that they ended the story with 3, but they're now going to 4 and being like, well, here's what happened between 2.5 and 3? Do you think that they're doing something like that?
This is actually a
No,
prequel when Goofy was a
it's
baby.
because it starts with him waking up in a totally new world that we've never seen before, and a character like tells him like, this is a very populated world, looks like our world, looks like Japan, and he's like, but to you it's like an afterlife.
It's actually New Donk City.
It's what's the name of the city coming up? I can't even say this. Quadratum.
Quadratum.
Like, this is the spelling. I'll put it in the chat. Like, Quadratum.
Quadratum.
And I have no idea. And they changed stuff, so it's like, it looks like they're using Unreal Engine.
Why does
which
that
is
look
weird.
familiar?
Like, look at this picture of Sora in the new one. I put it in the Discord chat. People can look it up who are listening, but they need to see. And it looks like a weird redesign, but it's more realistic, less cartoonish. So
it looks like a Final Fantasy.
He looks like Noctis with brown hair from Final Fantasy 15. But
yeah. So I mean, I guess one of the things for me too is like sparking a little bit of an interest with an updated version. I won't say version, but an updated game coming out. You know, I'm curious whether or not that's going to be available in multi-platform, because typically in the past, up until Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't think it was, right?
yeah, and 3 was on Xbox, but I don't know if this is going to be PlayStation exclusive or it's going to be cross-platform again, because from what I've understood, like 80% of the sales of Kingdom Hearts 3 were still on PlayStation. Like,
right, it's synonymous with PlayStation for sure, and that's why I think it was a big deal that it came out multi-plat. Just didn't catch on, so hopefully that's the case. Do you think, and I say this selfishly, like, you think this is a spot that I should jump in and kind of play, or?
maybe it depends what they're doing with the story, because if there's one thing, Kingdom Hearts story is the most convoluted mess of a story.
Oh yeah.
I'm a convoluted mess.
I mean, that's fair, but I've
We
seen
all are
jokes where
convoluted messes.
someone made a huge like 2-hour video breaking down the entire Kingdom Hearts story, and at the end someone was like, so what's the short version? And they're like, that was the short version. Like,
My sweet summer child.
you literally don't know. You have to buy 6 consoles to play this series. Like,
So I mean, like, I just at this point I would feel like I could go into Kingdom Hearts 4 and the rest of the story be damned, jump in, and then if I needed to, I could learn bits and pieces that I care about. That's kind of like how I feel about like jumping into comics. Like, I grab something, and then okay, that arc is something that I want to pay attention to, and now you're getting tidbits here and there based off of talking to people,
right.
or just getting references.
And I really hope that they make it so it's new player friendly, because that'd make it more interesting to me, really. But so far, story wise, all we know is like it's a new storyline apparently called Lost Master Arc, and this girl character we've never seen is there when Sora wakes up, and she's like, "Welcome to this city. You've been asleep for 7 days. Let's go."
Only 7 days? That's not enough sleep.
So I'm guessing it takes place 7 days after the end of 3. Like, so
This
I
kid
don't know
never
what's
gets a
going
rest.
on. No, poor Sora.
Gets...
Talk about losing your childhood. These games started when he was 12, and now he's like 17.
Oh man, I mean, in that picture you posted, he definitely looks like he's tired. He looks like he's had a rough go of it, and he's waking up like, oh shit, here we go again.
Right. And the trailer is still only in Japanese, so there's a stinger clip on this trailer of Donald and Goofy talking in Japanese, and it just wrecks my mind.
Yeah, I saw the end of that, and I'm like, and one of the comments I saw, because I was looking it up previously, was like, oh yeah, Square remembered that they're working together with Disney, so they had to put Goofy and Donald in here in the very last second, because they featured nothing Disney aspect otherwise, because it looked very realistic, very very dark.
because they've actually, other than having Donald and Goofy in your team and going to those worlds, it feels like they're trying to pull away from that a little bit. Like, so they
Yeah,
can do stuff. If Disney
yeah.
decides one day to, like, we no longer want to continue this partnership, they can be like, well, we still got Sora, we still got this world, we can still do this.
Right. So do you think that something like this pulls back on some of the Disney content, or do you
I
think they go
mean,
as heavy?
I don't know. I have no idea where they're going to go with this story, because knowing where 3 ended, it feels like things have been solved, but a new arc with Sora still the main character, and with Kingdom Hearts story being unpredictable, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm like, I'm ready for the ride. Let's go. I'll give it a
Yeah,
shot.
if it's
Sure.
multiplat, I'll definitely check it out. I mean, I won't do a pre-order because I will be cautiously optimistic, and also at the same time, we don't have to end up worrying about it coming out anytime soon.
Right, no, because Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced for the PlayStation 3, and we all know where it came out, so.
Right, right.
But but when it comes down to it, like, I'm gonna be a hypocrite here. I will pre-order this game. It's a Kingdom Hearts game. I'm gonna do it. Like, there's gonna be a special edition with a steelbook and something, and I'm gonna want it. But
Yeah, it'll definitely be cool. You may as well just buy a second copy so you can keep it for 5,000 years, and then from there it'll be worth a couple dollars more.
right. But so yeah, Kingdom Hearts news exciting, and then what else do we got? The PlayStation Plus tiers and E3
The
being
me-
canceled. We need to touch on that for sure.
oh,
I
for
But
think
sure.
I think the PlayStation Plus thing is hilarious.
why is it hilarious? That threw me off.
I just think it, like, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it's on PlayStation Plus. I'm like, it's been on Game Pass for a minute now.
Well, this is Sony competing with Game Pass. Xbox forced their hand here.
Oh yeah, I'm down
I guess
for it.
that's where it's hilarious because it's reactive as opposed to proactive.
Yeah,
They
because
weren't
and
making
the thing
these
is,
choices.
and a lot of people are criticizing Sony on the fact that it's not more reactive, that it's more of fine, we'll do one too. Here we go. But anyone who knows anything about marketing knows it's like that's because Sony's earned the right not to be reactive. They don't have to be proactive because
Well, I
they're
mean,
on the top.
just because you're on top doesn't mean times don't change.
No, I'm
That's
not.
what
I'm
she
not
said.
saying that. I'm saying more like someone's like, "Oh, well, why didn't they price match Xbox's
Oh
Game Pass?" It's like because they don't have to.
yeah,
It's
I
because they
agree.
don't need to, because they're
Right.
already at the top. The reason Xbox Game Pass is so cheap is because Microsoft is behind, and they're using it to catch up. They're using it to gain favor in the community, and when they get big enough to where they're comfortable with that, those prices will go up. I
Ready,
guarantee it.
I'm ready for the Sony PCs instead of the Microsoft PCs. That'll be a day.
No. Well, I'm actually really excited, and I'm gonna go for
The
the
Sony
highest.
Bio.
I'm gonna go for. Oh my God, Sony Vio, bring it back. But I'm actually excited for the concept of PlayStations more than Xboxes, because like I'm gonna keep Game Pass because it's a great value. But when it comes down to it, I have no nostalgia for Microsoft games. None. Like I don't care about Halo
Really?
really. I don't. I never owned an Xbox ever my
What
entire
about
life.
Fable? Do you care about Fable at all?
Some of my
Trick.
friends played it, looked cool in concept, but I'm more excited of, oh, we're going to get a giant library of PlayStation 1 and 2 games. Heck yes.
I mean,
Let's
Trek
they
definitely
go.
definitely
comes
were.
out in May.
They were formative. That's for sure. For me as a
Yeah, and that
gamer, like
and
PlayStation 1 and 2. Yeah.
I mean, in my
Mhm.
storyline looks like Sega Genesis to PlayStation 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Throw in
Yeah, you're
Nintendo
right.
consoles here and there. So,
You had a
You're right.
360.
for like 2 months and I sold it.
What? How could you get rid of an Xbox 360 unless it red ringed on you?
Because there was no games I cared about on it that I couldn't play on PlayStation.
At the time, I think
I'm
we got it
gatekeeping.
because our one friend had one.
Yeah. But the thing of
I
matter
remember. I remember getting my Xbox 360. I think I bought it off of Craigslist. I got it for like $200 with 2 games and 2 controllers. One of those games was Army of Two, and the other one was Gears of War.
Mm-hmm.
And I came late to the party, of course, but I like never looked back from there on. I loved it.
And see, for me, I was of the era of at that time I was very like I did not like shooter games at all. Like I did not like first person shooters. I did not like third person shooters. And I honestly always asked my friends, "Tell me why I should get an Xbox." Name a game series I would care about on that console to justify me buying one. And they said Halo, Gears of War. It's like genres I don't care about, my dude.
Fruit Ninja on the Kinect. Come on.
Then I have to get a Kinect. Ugh.
Then I could run by your house and say Xbox off, and it would just turn off.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, so for me, I have like no nostalgia for Microsoft games. Like, yeah, sure, there's some classics, and I recognize that, and they're cool, but PlayStation classics are where it's at for me.
Don't you rain on my parade here, Aaron.
I'll rain. No worries.
It was definitely PS1, and then Xbox. The first original Xbox came out.
Yeah, the original Xbox was cool. It was unique. You had one when we were kids. Yeah. And you played Left 4 Dead on it. You played some Halo on it, but...
Not original Xbox. Not Xbox 360 you did.
I played a lot of Madden on my original Xbox.
I'm trying to think of some games that I played on that.
Halo 2.
Yeah, Halo 2 was a big one. And what else?
Morrowind.
What else? There was
Morrowind.
I didn't play Morrowind. Unfortunately, I wasn't in that. I was in the shooty bang bang kind of category at that point of my life, where I got more into story games a little bit later on as I became old and decrepit, and my response time was not as quick. But yeah, Fable I think was like a good one for me.
Mm-hmm. Fable, I love Fable. Yeah. It's on Game Pass on PC. That's why I'm kind of like.
I can't go back to it, but yeah, Fable and Fable 2 were great.
Apparently, they're working on a new Fable, but we'll see if that ever actually sees the light of day.
Well, the original project got shelved because of, like, I guess development hell. But now I guess they're working on a proper story one. We'll see how it goes. I mean, Fable 3 kind of let me down because it wasn't a good enough evolution of what it was. So, but that is what it is.
Right. So the tiers sound pretty cool. They have PlayStation Plus Essential, which is the standard. Same price, nothing's changing. Get everything you want out of it still.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation Plus Extra is $100 a year instead of $60. And that adds 400 games of PlayStation 4 and 5 games. Pretty much you get PlayStation Now included, which is their streaming service, download service. So for an extra $40, you get that. And then for an extra $20 on top of that, they're adding an additional 340 games of PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games for download, PlayStation PSP games for download, and then some PlayStation 3 games via cloud streaming.
Yeah.
So for the $120 a year, you're getting a catalog of like 700 games. Not too shabby.
That's really awesome, especially if you missed.
Have to buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, especially if it's classics. Now, a lot of PlayStation classics though are probably licensing nightmares. A lot of them got sold off to Activision, got sold off to Microsoft. Like Crash Bandicoot's an Activision game, Spyro's an Activision game. So I don't know how that's all going to work. They have not released any information on what are in these libraries. So it's going to be interesting, but we'll see.
Yeah. I would have to say, like, that would, if I were to jump in and end up with a PlayStation 5, for instance, that would be a fun way for me to kind of catch up on certain things I missed in more recent times. I don't foresee myself going back into older titles that I played back in the day, like, but that's just me, I guess. There's a lot of folks that still like enjoy jumping back into old games that they have nostalgia for.
Yeah, like when this drops, I will definitely get the Plus Premium for at least a year just to see what's there, just to see how it is. And I might go back to the standard or go to the middle level eventually, but I'm going to try out the Premium Plus for a while.
There are definitely a lot of retro gamers that love that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I can't be gatekeeping my
word of the day.
Gatekeeping.
Today's episode is brought to you by gatekeeping.
Exactly. Speaking of gates, though, E3 is not going to have any because they're not doing one.
Ooh! Segue.
hey, it was time to segue. E3's canceled, so no walking through any gates at E3. No halls, nothing. No digital, nothing. No.
They just stopped
I've always wanted to go to an E3 too.
They just stopped it to release E4. too fast.
What's the fourth E stand for, though?
2E, 2E, 2E.
Electronic Entertainment Expo.
We're not sure what to do with it. But no, E3 being canceled full out is a pretty big deal because even during the pandemic, they did digital events.
They're not even doing
So-
digital this year?
No, it's nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Yeah, they announced it. They announced that they were going to cancel having an in-person one, and then they went ahead. They waited a while, and then they came out and said, "All right, it's canceled outright." And it kind of threw everybody for a loop, where they were like, "Wait a second,
Well,
what?"
I think if they cancel it, it might push game developers to like start participating in cons like Comic-Con and GameCon and stuff like that.
See, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. I think game companies are more likely to follow the Apple playbook and be like, nope, we're holding our own a digital event. Sony's doing a press conference on this day. Microsoft's doing theirs a week later. Activision's doing theirs in May. Whatever. And I think that's gonna be the way because they see it. We don't need to pay for the booth. We don't need to pay for the travel. We don't need to pay for all the equipment. All we need to do is upload a video.
Yep, and then you slowly but surely kill the gaming community.
No, because those digital events have been super successful.
Smother
Super
the gaming
successful.
community with a pillow.
For now, but
I
like
mean-
you get a good TV show. That's good for the first couple seasons, but eventually it's just like, yeah, okay, I can put this on in the background.
So here's the thing I got to say about E3, and I know that it's been a declining thing over the course of the
Mhm.
years, from my understanding. You know, it because of the internet. You know, because it can be streamed from home, because it's become exclusionary, or it was exclusionary, became a little more inclusionary, I should say. It's one of those things where, for me, I enjoyed having all that content gathered in 3-4 days. You know, of what we could see as the general public. Where folks who could attend could see things over the course of a span of like 5 days or so, or a little bit more. Always been something that I wanted to go to. It's a shame to see it go away, at least for this year. They anticipate that they're going to have a 2023, but lo and behold, like we probably get closer to that, and then they might do the same, you know?
Right, because as a company who holds events like this, you don't cancel one saying, "Yeah, I might not do one next year." No, you have to keep the interest of like, "Yeah, we'll do one next year, guys. We swear, we promise, it's gonna happen for sure."
It's probably still rebounding from this jackass of a virus we had. So
Right.
Yeah. Now the good news is, like, let me preface this with, I'm the type of person that would usually kind of work my schedule to the point where I could be off for E3 to consume everything, and watch it, and interact with people about it. I always had a lot of fun with that.
Right.
Now, what I did pay attention to was immediately, kind of on the heels of that news, Summer Game Fest is still on for June, which is real cool. So that's hosted by Jeff Keighley. And I think it's great because, you know, you're talking about it filling that gap of what E3 gave in a different type of production standpoint. I mean, just some of the partners that you have are typically the same thing you get from E3. So are we just seeing a shift? Are we seeing a baton being passed and a change of how this is being done? You've got 2K, Activision, Amazon Games, Annapurna, Blizzard, Capcom, Devolver. They're all going to be there. EA.
yeah.
So, you know, they've had Summer Games Fest in previous years. I think the past 3 or maybe more years, and it hasn't been exactly. It's not the same as E3. It's not synonymous, but if I know the dates, will I still take my time to kind of pay attention? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I'll be honest, I feel like Summer Game Fest is going to eat E3's lunch, and I think E3 is going to become even more irrelevant because not only just its waning influence, a lot of companies are starting to get fed up with the ESA running it.
Yeah.
They don't like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
they run it. They don't like how they've been managing everything lately.
Yeah,
Especially
you gotta change
with
with the
bringing-
times, I guess.
Yeah, especially because what I think E3 has struggled with by far isn't necessarily it losing influence. It's the fact that E3 was a press event forever. It was for press. It was for outlets to come. It was for expeditions. And then they opened it to the public. And things got weird.
Yeah.
Things got real weird. They only did it for like 3 years. And a lot of games press was like, it kind of takes away from the vibe. We can't do our job well when we're working through the public as well. And
Welcome
it just
to E3 with our guest lineup, Mark Hamill. What's he doing here?
right. or it's just
What's your favorite
Pre-
console, Mark?
press people like these events because they get to go and see their other friends in the press and get early access to these things to write about for their site.
Mm-hmm.
So then when they also have to balance that with running into fans of theirs, it gets messy. Because I know Giant Bomb talked about that a lot. Like they would have to schedule meetups with fans at these events on the side of doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because
I think
in this day and age, a lot of journalists have become fans, have fans now. Like people love Dan Riker and Jeff Gersman as creators, not just them being journalists. They have
Right. You kind of transcend that.
right, and it's a weird transition to make when you're trying to do your job at a press event to working with your fans.
Yeah, what a balancing act. I think things that I'm excited about, and I wish I was equipped to do this, but like something like for like Summer Game Fest, I would love to go on and co-stream it, you know, watch it and stream it, and kind of just be, for instance, on Twitch. I don't know how many people would sit in the room with me and watch, but I would sit there and I would hoot and holler over the stuff that I see, and give my reactions right away. I think that's awesome. It's literally, I'm on their website right now, and it just tells you like you can absolutely co-stream it. You don't need a digital registration or anything like that to attend it and do that. So I think it's awesome.
That'd be a lot of fun to stream then.
Speaking of streaming it, if we want to do like a co-stream where we all stream it, we can just do a Discord call with that on top of it, and I can put it on the new Twitch stream, the new Twitch for the podcast.
Yeah, our podcast has a Twitch, not yet used, but we're
not yet used.
We might.
Hey, no, I'm all for it.
Yeah, doing a Gamer Sleep co-stream of Summer's Game Fest could be a blast.
Like where you guys can stream it, I can stream it on my own, and then have like my other computer streaming it for GOS.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
We should definitely test it out and kind of get the logistics out of the way so we can do a smooth one, and then we just build it up and have some folks, you know, hang out with us. I think that would be really fun. It's actually been kind of a real dream of mine to participate in that way, because it's awesome to share that passion with everybody.
The community aspect is why I started doing this stuff, like the streaming, and I like affecting people in a positive way.
Exactly. Community is the main reason I'm where I'm at right now.
I do it for the money.
Well,
for the money.
Always for the money. All right. Well, any other news you guys want to throw out there, or have we covered everything we're interested in at this point?
I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, I really got nothing else. I mean, you know, live long, prosper. You know, keep gaming, keep on gaming. Lose your sleep.
Well, I did forget to do the random fact at the beginning because I am a scatterbrained mess.
No, let's just chalk it up to we got a little excited to just dig into the meat and potatoes of the show. So I hold nothing against you, and our faithful, gentle listeners will not hold it against you either.
All right. Well, do you guys want to hear the random fact that I pulled up, or do you want me to save it for next week? Next time I host.
I don't want to hear it at all.
You don't. Well, I have it pulled up anyway, so here we go. All right. So, before 2012, Pizza Hut was the largest purchaser of kale in the United States, but they only used it to garnish their salad bars.
Whoa, that's such a waste.
I think that's the perfect place for kale, actually.
Hey, kale is delicious. Now,
kale is awesome in soup.
In their defense, kale is awesome in soup. That's the best place for it. But in their defense, it was a variant of kale called ornamental kale. So literally bred to be ornamental. But nonetheless, they were the largest purchaser of kale in the United States just for decoration.
It's funny that there's a business out there that is just ornamental kale. Like somebody decided, you know what I'm going to do, Shark Tank? I'm gonna create a business out of ornamental kale. You can't eat this one. Nope. It's just meant for decoration. You want to decorate your house with kale? I've got you.
I just wonder how often did they have to replace their entire salad bar covered in kale? Was it nightly? Was it every other day? Because holy crap.
I always did wonder why they had their salad and all off on the sides. Like,
Why?
what is
Why
this doing here?
Why is there salad on my salad?
Like, somebody's really messy here because you know what, the kale leaves are everywhere
And
except for where I need them to be.
grubby kid hands do you think reached in there and just did a mouthful of kale?
Mm.
I mean, as a child, I would not touch any random green thing sitting out in the open. But then again, I only remember my own consciousness from like age 9 and up.
You know,
So
I don't feel like they do that anymore. I remember going to restaurants with my family as a kid in the late 90s, early 2000s, and there was always like a little piece of kale on the plate for decoration with my chicken strips and french fries. Like, why?
and you wouldn't touch it.
And I wouldn't touch
know
it.
I know not to touch that. But you know what? The paint chips on the floor. Let me go and shove those in my mouth.
Well, they're sweet.
This one's white chocolate.
That's not the first time I've heard that, Aaron. So for you to actually come out and say that, it's like, yep, you ate.
No,
the paint chips
I never ate the paint chips, but it's sweet because lead tastes sweet.
I never swallowed. I just chewed on them. Okay.
Don't clip that out of context, everyone.
But yeah, and I know that because where I work with lead-based solder, and apparently there were some people who've been there for years who chewed on the solder because it was sweet. It's like, it's because it's lead.
Known to the state of California to cause birth defects.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what else is known to cause birth defects? The Kingdom Hearts series.
I mean, you're not wrong.
This is not to alienate any of our listeners.
I love Kingdom Hearts, and I find it hilarious.
I hope no one gets triggered by that. I apologize in advance.
If they do, they're just gatekeeping.
Where's Will Smith?
Oh my god.
I'm gonna watch my back.
Jesus. Well, guys, on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up. So, Larry, where can they find you?
My social medias are all at Larry Underpants. That's, of course, going to be Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, the new TikTok that I have. I say new when it's like old as hell. That's LarryUnderpants.ttv. Drop me a line, communicate with me. I always appreciate interaction and just generally communicating with everybody, keeping connected. I'm on an irregular schedule on Twitch right now, but catch me live. Drop me a follow, put those notifications on, and come hang out anytime I'm live. Be happy to have you.
All right, what about you, Harry? Where can they find you?
At Harry 3 Eyes on everything. Twitter, Twitch, Instagram.
OnlyFans.
That's Harry 4 Eyes. TikTok and Hover. I'll be streaming this Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. EST. I'm going back to Alice Madness Returns. That's going to be a fun time. What about you, Aaron? Where can we find you?
I can be found on Twitch and Twitter at Pyro909, and I will be streaming Tunic Monday morning as this goes live.
Hey.
So should be a blast. And if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure to rate us on your streaming app of choice. And maybe share us out with some friends and family. Get some other opinions in there. And make sure you turn on notifications so you know when our next episode drops. We also are now on Twitter at GamersleepPod1. And there you'll find the link to our Discord and all the apps we're currently streaming on. And I think that's it. So we will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Much love, everybody.
Yeehaw!